This is actually our '08. This is a summary of our '08 budget, the one we're currently in right now. And so as of July 1 of '08, we had in the general fund $3,843,032 that was generally available for operations. We had then predicted or projected what we felt our income that was going to come into the general fund from July 1, '08 through June 30th, '09 was. And that is estimated at $15,567,803. Transfers, and this is, as you can see, net transfers. Transfers are when we send money from one area to another area. Now, almost always this is negative in the general fund, because if you remember, these typically all have restrictions on them. And so it's hard to send money from them somewhere else. It's the area where we have the most freedom on the use of the money that it tends to go out. Budgeted expenditures are the operational costs that are directly tracked within that, in this case, the general fund. And then we have what we estimated we would have on June 30th of '08. And the way this works is you start with this, and that's a positive number. And this then is a positive number. In this case, this is a negative number because more money is going out than coming in. This is then a negative number because that's money we're expecting to use for operations. And then this is the sum, the amount that's left. After you take this and add this, subtract this, you're left with that much money. That's what we would have expected we would have to start out the new fiscal year. When we follow that process, as I mentioned, there's a number of individual funds in each of these, but we do that for each one of them. Next. This is the operational departments that are within the general fund of the city of Alamogordo. We have our legislative department. That's our mayor and our commissioners. We have my office, the city manager. We have a legal office, operations analyst, city clerk, finance and accounting, accounts receivable, non-departmental. What non-departmental is that's in City Hall, for example, to pay the electric bill. We don't break that up by department. We pay it out of one place. There's only one meter. And so that's what are the type of items that are in non-departmental. We have code enforcement. That's the area that's under Department of Public Safety. Goes around and looks at weeds, junk cars, trash violations, items of that type. We then have our building codes department. This is a department that inspects new construction, makes sure it's up to snuff, it is safe for the public. We have a planning and zoning department. This is where we look to the future and we say, how is this city going to grow? And zoning is then a tool to help us implement the quality of life we want to try and have. And it restricts the use of property by private citizens. It actually restricts their use of property. We have that within the city. That is, there is no zoning in the county. We have an animal control department. That is to pick up stray animals, injured animals, abused animals, and to hopefully find homes for them. We've done very good there, but unfortunately we're still getting more animals than we can find homes for. And if you'd like to adopt an animal, we will be happy to direct you to how you can get that done. We then have the Department of Public Safety. And the city of Alamogordo is somewhat unique in this area. We have what's called a combined police and fire. That's actually very unique. Most cities have a separate police department and a separate fire department. In our case, we combine that. Our policemen are actually also firemen. When there's a fire call, the policemen on duty go direct to the call, and they have equipment in the back of their car that they will put on. We have fire operators stationed at the different fire stations around town, and they will respond with the equipment to the fire. So when they get there, our firefighters are already there, and they then turn out to fight the fire. This, if we try to have separate departments, it's estimated to keep the same fire rating we already have. It would cost us about another $1 million a year in operating cost. So this is, for our community, has proved to be extremely beneficial and efficient way to provide police and fire services. The GIS and land management, the city has quite a bit of land we own around town. Geographic Information System is a department that helps us with mapping and tracking that type of information. This is a different fund, and this is within special revenue funds. These touch lots of people, these areas of activity. We have youth and family leisure services here. The public libraries here, parks are in here. Special events like Saturday in the Park. We have Keep Alamogordo Beautiful here. The zoo is in here. The DARE program's in this area. Economic development is in this particular area. Lodger's tax, there's two parts of it. The city share and a share that's overseen by a board made up of businesses within the city. The lodger's tax helps pay to operate this particular facility, for example, and pay the bills on it. The state fire protection, that is what it says. It's money that comes from the state that we use to help operate our fire department, and a court automation fund, which is money that comes from fines. It's used to help pay for computers, training, and those types of activities within the municipal court. Other funds, as you may recall, I mentioned we have a number of them. In the enterprise, we have our water and sewer. We have a solid waste, airport, and golf course. And these are, again, intended that the users can be detected. We can see who's making use of those activities. And so we try to set the rates for provision of those services and distribute them among the users to cover the cost. And that will minimize the impact on the individuals in the community that don't use those services. We then have, as I mentioned, trust and agency fundings. This is where we don't have control of that money. It's got specific purposes. A very large one is the Otero Lincoln Regional Landfill. This is the landfill you pass as you go down to El Paso on 54. It's off to the west, and that serves both Lincoln and Otero counties. The city of Alamogordo is one member of the Otero County Solid Waste District. The city has also been hired by the Otero and Lincoln County to run and operate that activity. So we do that. We have the State Judicial Fund, utility deposits, cemetery perpetual. In our cemetery, we have, of course, a limited amount of space. And that space has all been subdivided. I know that sounds kind of strange, but it's subdivided into plots. And as we know that someday that's going to be filled. And so what happens at that time? How does it get taken care of? And so what the City Commission has done is they set up the Cemetery Perpetual Care Fund. And so a part of each plot that's purchased goes in here to build up the capital. The concept is that when the cemetery is full, there'll be enough principal here that the interest will allow the cemetery to be taken care of forever without a burden